And welcome, heels and baby faces, to another episode of Rob is War, the podcast with the most attitude. I'm Rob, and this is.
The Murph. And today we're going to be talking about the releases that's been happening basically all year long.
Yeah, and apparently there's been from what I've read, I think about 79 releases,
Woo.
which is a lot for just
Yeah,
one year. I remember, I mean, I know there's been releases back in the past and stuff like that, but I don't think that many.
yeah.
Um, what's it called? According to this reporter from Fightful.com, his name is Sean Ross Sapp. He cited and said that it was budget cuts for all these
Budget cut.
releases. Do you what's your opinion on that? What do you think?
I really don't believe it because how is it budget cuts? Because the WWE I don't know, $1 billion corporation.
Something like that, yeah.
I doubt they're even losing money or hurting on money.
Oh, I mean, especially with all the revenue that they're bringing in from uh the what's it called, the Saudi Arabia stuff that they're
Yeah,
doing with the according of what blood money.
yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's a good point. I mean,
Sounds fishy.
I don't honestly think it's budget cuts, and especially it's funny because you have this storyline on Raw right now where Vince McMahon is missing this $100 million egg or whatever, and so now you got some fans joking around saying like you're talking about budget cuts, but you can afford this egg. Like
Yeah.
all your money went to this egg.
Yeah. Oh, that's why, so what got released?
Yeah, like you're gonna tell me it's budget cuts. I don't believe that for one
Yeah.
second that it was budget
Me
cuts.
neither.
I think there's way more to that. I mean, I also
Yeah.
heard rumors it could be the fact that they may be selling. Do you think WWE could be selling?
I really don't picture Vince selling it.
And let's say if they did, like makes me wonder because I heard like they could be selling to someone like NBC since like the network is already on Peacock. But then
Yeah.
again, the thing with that is that I heard that uh again they're getting revenue, they're getting money off of Peacock because they have like a 5 year deal or something like that. It's like
Yeah.
they didn't sell the whole, they didn't sell all their library to Peacock.
Yeah.
They just basically lent it out
It's
and did
borrowing.
that. Yeah,
It's like Peacock's renting it, kind of like I guess where we rented a blockbuster, like a movies from Blockbuster.
yeah, exactly. So
But except instead of for a few days, it's 5 years.
yeah, so like um, there's rumors of that, and I know I think right back was one of the other guys that said that they could be selling to someone like Disney or like Universal Studios, which I mean I guess I
Well,
could kind of see it happening because with Vince. He would turn anything into WWE. If he could have a freaking WWE theme park, I'm pretty sure he would be down for that.
yeah,
I mean, he's. I mean, remember back in New York, they used to have that WWF restaurant.
yeah.
They used to have stuff like that.
They
So
had
it
like
makes
a
me wonder.
after some party too during Raw,
Yeah. So I don't know.
especially when they were in New York.
All I know is I don't believe it's budget cuts.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't believe that for one second that it's budget cuts. But so well, actually, since we're talking about releases, on November 18th, Al, was the recent one where they released at least eight performers
Dang.
for November 18th, and that would be Ashanti Adonis, which I really don't remember. I know
Me
he had a good
neither.
run. I kind of do. Now that I think about it, I kind of do. He had a short little run on NXT a little bit. Top Dollar was from that Hit Row faction that was happening, which I, for one, thought was a genius faction because
Yeah.
here's a faction that you've never really. I don't like. Do you remember a faction ever happening like that? Like I'm trying to remember there's ever been like a rap style faction like this fact. Like basically, what I guess people didn't understand about Hit Row is that they were almost like the record company Death Row. So Isaiah Swerve Scott was, and he was also one of the guys that got released amongst those eight. Um, so you already have two members right there. Like
Yeah,
we basically before we went live here, you were saying that basically all of Hit Row is gone,
yeah.
which is
That's
sad
because I
because,
enjoy their time on NXT.
and that's what I'm talking about. I enjoyed the hell out of what they were doing on NXT. It was different. It was fresh. The rivalries that they were doing with Legado, with and then
Yeah,
the whole feud with El Fantasma,
yeah,
which I think what's in that. Well, that's what I know him as. That's not his name. That's not his name in
yeah,
NXT. I think it was Santos Escobar,
yeah.
and he was facing Isaiah Swerve Squad for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, which I thought was really good. But what I was saying about Hit Row is basically the people that didn't understand who Hit Row was is that they were just basically a record label, and
Yeah.
they were a record label that were basically a wrestling faction. So
There's actually
because
something different.
it was different, and also Isaiah Swerve Scott has his own podcast, so like that's where Top Dollar came from. That's where that other guy came from. I don't know what his name was. Um, and then you had I think her name is BFAB. I think that's what they were
Yeah.
calling her, who got released as well, which is on top of which is part of the list, the releases. But yeah, they just missed big time with
Oh
Hit
yeah.
Row, and WWE does that with a lot of them. They did that with Sanity.
With
Uh,
everybody.
yeah, they did that with everybody. Like, but going back with Top Dollar, this guy, um, I from what I remember of him, is they A&E was doing this new program, I think, called WWE Most Wanted Treasures or something like that. It was basically like the wrestlers would go on search to find the most valuable like items, like
Yeah.
whether it was like one time they went for like Kane's mask, or like I don't know if you've seen that episode. Like there was one where they uh trying to look for like Undertaker's like trench coat and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it was worth a lot. But anyways, the guy that was part of the hosting it was Top Dollar. That's where I remember him from. And
Mm.
then obviously he transitioned to becoming, because I know he was already at the Performance Center training to become a wrestler. So that's how he ended up becoming part of Hit Row.
Yeah.
Next you have Drake Maverick, which who I knew as Rockstar Spud
Yeah.
back in Impact, and I thought he was doing good. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
he wasn't doing much, but I mean, he
He got
was.
fired last year, then this, then again. So
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I don't know with him. Now, here's a big one for me that recently, John Morrison.
Come on, how are they gonna drop that?
How you gonna drop the ball on John Morrison, who already
Yeah.
like proved himself outside of WWE after he was already, I think, released before a long ass time ago, to becoming Johnny Mundo and Lucha Underground, which I felt was part of what Lucha Underground was becoming. He was part of that. Um,
Yeah.
he him and Taya had this I forgot what they were called, but they had their own faction too, over there on Lucha Underground, which was really really good. And so I think Johnny Mundo ended up becoming the second or third Lucha Underground champion. Um, and so he was doing stuff with that. He was doing stuff over there in AAA Mexico, and he was also doing Johnny Impact in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
And so like he was doing a bunch of stuff. This guy was winning multiple champions all across
And
the
they
board, all
dropped the
across everywhere.
ball with him.
And they dropped the ball. They bring him back as what they thought he was, this goofy hipster or whatever. It looked like just to put Miz over more,
Yeah.
and then released him, which I thought was pretty stupid. How you gonna
Like,
do
what's the
that?
point?
Yeah, what's the point? Now, the next one is Tegan Knox. She was already doing stuff, I think, with Shotzi Blackheart with her coming out on the tank. They just bumped her up on SmackDown.
I felt that didn't make sense. Like she wasn't ready for like the main roster. She didn't have time to really shine because she got injured.
And well, not only that, but I think she also had a feud with
Candice.
yeah, that's what I was trying to remember her
And
name.
they just dropped a few like out of the blue.
And honestly, that could have been money. That could have been a probably
Yeah,
potential takeover match right there too, because they, like you said, they built something there, and then like how are you gonna do that? Like Shotzi Blackheart going to SmackDown made sense, but if you did it with Ember Moon, because that's who they were doing it
yeah,
with, and not only that, Shotzi and Ember Moon became like I think the second women's tag team to become the first ever NXT
tag
women's
champions.
tag champion. So
Yeah,
like how are you gonna, again, like you just said, how are you gonna drop the ball? That didn't make sense
exactly.
to bring somebody who was just injured, she's just finding her
And
footing in NXT, and you're gonna
then
like
you
all
just
of a
take it
sudden
away.
yeah that yeah don't- I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about WWE. Like, come on, man,
Yeah,
come on. The next one I thought made sense. I think this guy probably should have got released just on just based on the comments and stuff he was making, and that was Jackson Riker. He was making
yeah,
all these racial, racist type of comments, which I thought was
yeah,
just looked pretty bad on his part. So
yeah. Definitely.
that
That was that's unprofessional
very,
of
very,
him.
very unprofessional. Whether even if you had opinions like that and all this stuff, you just don't do that publicly. And
Yeah,
knowing you're, knowing how you're a top celeb working for a top company like that, and
yeah,
that's because I liked him. I think he was trying to remember what his name was when I first saw him. He was in Impact Wrestling, and he was doing pretty good over there. And I thought, okay, this guy is pretty badass. And then, like I said, he made those comments, and it was just like, yeah, man, this guy is. Yeah, I already saw.
yeah.
I already knew that they were gonna release him no matter what. So
Eventually.
yeah, good luck to you, Riker.
Yeah,
The next one I already had mentioned, which was Isaiah Swerve Scott. Um, obviously
that
they
dude
dropped
was awesome.
they and even without Hit Row, he didn't really need Hit Row. This guy again was already a multiple champion. He I first discovered him as Killshot in Lucha Underground. He was wearing a mask, so obviously you can understand my feelings
Yeah,
when he debuted finally in NXT. But for me, I didn't know who he was behind the mask. Like I just knew him, just this masked guy was calling himself Killshot. So it obviously had to research all that stuff, and it
yeah,
turned out okay, it was this guy named Isaiah Scott, who happened to be he was already swerved before NXT, and was doing like he was already a multiple champion. He was a PCW heavyweight champion, which was a big, pretty big indies promotion where a lot of guys are coming from MLW and Ring of Honor and stuff like that. They
yeah,
all been through PCW and stuff like that. And Defy Wrestling, that's another good one. I think that's a British one. He was multiple champions and those like so again he was just all these multiple champions getting releases. It just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
I don't know.
I know you showed me a couple of his matches he did.
Yeah,
And
man.
when I want to say Lucha
Oh
Underground, those
yeah,
brutal
remember
matches.
I showed you that
Yeah,
I showed you that match where man, now that you're talking about it, it was Kill Shot. It was an Ultimo Lucha pay per view. That's what they called their pay per views, I guess. And they didn't he like spear him or he did something, and they went through like glass
yeah.
and stuff. I
Oh,
remember that. That was brutal.
brutal.
Um, yeah, that was him. That was it. That was Isaiah
Yeah,
Swerve Scott. Yeah, but he was Kill Shot, and he was I forgot. I was trying to remember the other wrestler, but like the whole storyline was that they were like veterans of the military, and like apparently Killshot like killed this guy or something like that, and he was a brother in arms, and he resurrected back, and came back for revenge. Basically,
yeah.
it was like Rambo in wrestling or something. Like it was pretty awesome though. It was
Yeah.
different because like Killshot like had the dog tags and like but what's it's cool about Isaiah Swerve Scott is that he really is an ex-military guy. He really
So it
did go
fits
to
him.
yeah, it fits him. He is really an ex-military. And
Yeah.
so the military part was true, but obviously him like going overseas and killing and making it all comical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's obviously not. Um Our next one is Shane Thorne. I don't know if you remember that guy, but I remember he was in a tag team. I remember. I don't remember who the
I
guy
think vaguely.
was.
I probably have
Yeah,
to see
I'm
him.
trying to remember who Shane Thorne. Uh, but I think he was also on the main roster for a little bit as well, from what I remember. But I'm trying to remember he was in a tag team, and this tag team that he was with, they were kind of popular as well too. I might have to go check real quick. But he was, man, trying to remember. He was he's an Australian professional wrestler, but he was in this tag team with somebody. I'm trying to remember who. That's who it is. They were called TMDK, I think, which was stand for the Mighty Don't Kneel. Which was a remember TM61. There you go. I don't know if you remember that name, but they were a tag team. Um, and the other guy was forgot the other guy's name too.
Yeah, I don't.
But
Um,
anyways, TMDK is a stable. I think his name is Nicholas, and you also had, which was another guy that they messed up with, Jonah, which was Bronson Reed for NXT.
yeah,
He was also part of that TMDK stable. So I also heard rumors around that we could possibly see a reunion between Jonah and Shane Thorne. Shane Thorne could end up coming back, and they could end up returning as the Mighty Don't Kneel or TMDK. I think that's going to be awesome because I would like to see
yeah,
it. But uh, well, rumors was that TMDK actually stood for torture, murder, destroy, kill. But it actually is the Mighty Don't Kneel, which is I think is better. So um, yeah, hopefully we'll see more out of Shane Thorne there.
yeah.
You don't remember him though,
No, I don't.
huh? I was like, I must have. Yeah, I remember watching him as TM61. Now that I think about it, which was interesting. Um, and that's see, so that list right there alone, Al, was only on just November 18th. Now we're going to November.
Yeah,
Now we're going to November 4th. WWE dropped more performers 2 weeks after its Crown Jewel pay per view in Saudi Arabia, which was Keith Lee, which I can't believe again.
yeah,
This is a guy I've seen since Ring of Honor and is a Texas boy, Texas represent.
yeah.
Um,
The
Carry,
dancer from Texas.
yes, yes, Carrying Cross.
That I kind of saw coming only because I hear he had an attitude backstage. If that's true,
Well,
then
well,
it's
that's funny
obvious
that
they're
you
gonna
said that
do
because
that.
something just popped in my head. I remember watching this like Triple A Triple Mania like documentary or something like that, and like there was one where like he was gonna fight Jeff Jarrett. Like backstage, he was gonna him and Jeff Jarrett were gonna go at it because I guess Jeff Jarrett was drunk or something, and
Hey,
Jeff Jarrett was being a dick and telling Cross stuff, and Cross was like, "I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna hit him," and like yeah, it was pretty insane.
yeah,
So
apparently he had like attitude problems backstage that a lot of wrestlers didn't like.
okay, so I mean, I could
So that
understand
I
that too.
get.
I could
Yeah,
understand that too, but yeah, it is also just it's also bad because it would have been cool to have seen the whole thing they did with him and his actual wife or fiance Scarlett.
yeah,
The stuff they were doing in NXT, I wish they would have brought that up to the main roster, but I mean, obviously that wasn't happening, and they gave him this
nope,
weird ass Trojan helmet or whatever, and again making him, I guess, look like he was going to be like the third wheel of like the Viking Raiders or something. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. And like, come on, man. Like I said, Keith Lee, man. Keith Lee became like NXT's first double champion back in
yeah,
July of last year, and like, man, dude, I thought like, okay, that to me is telling me they're gonna put that guy, they're gonna make him the man. That's what I thought. I mean,
I
putting
just
a double
noticed
champion,
that most of the guys that were released that didn't do well were they all came from like NXT before going to the main roster.
and then all
Vince
getting
always
released.
does that. Vince
Yeah,
always does that.
tries messing them up, and then they get released. And it could also not just be because of the wrestler; it could also just be because of the fact that he just wants to mess with Triple H because he knows Triple H has so much invested in it that he could just be tampering with how because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because if it were up to Triple H, obviously these wrestlers would be excelling,
Oh yeah.
and and
Um.
if you had done all these characters right, I would believe that there would have been more competition for what AEW too.
Yeah. I know Small Joe did get released, but Triple H got kind of pissed and fought hard to get him hired back.
Which also is part of this list too. Yeah, Samoa Joe was
Yeah.
definitely part of one of them. So we had Karrion Cross, like you said, Keith Lee. We had Nia Jax. I mean, come on, Nia Jax was already just injuring a bunch of people, and I
Yeah.
gotta say, I did love Nia Jax. I did think she could have been something. I remember me and Leanne going to a NXT special event there in Robstown. Um, and her coming out facing Asuka, who was the NXT Women's Champion at the time, and her pitching the idea to Vince McMahon. Since she's cousins to The Rock, and The Rock does the people's elbow, she wanted to do the
Yeah.
people's leg drop, and so I remember during the match watching it, she did the whole Rock taunt, and she
Yeah.
went from ring to ring, but as soon as she was gonna land the leg drop, she did the suck it sign. And then when she was gonna hit the leg drop, well, obviously she missed. Asuka hit her with the finisher. Asuka wins. But I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty. I was so entertained, and I know she could wrestle. And I think it was
Yeah.
just one of those things where they were just holding her back too. Not bring.
Which is kind of odd. I actually found this a surprise they released her because she's related to The Rock, and we know how Vince is when someone that is related to The Rock.
Well, I also
Hello,
remember.
Roman Reigns.
Well, I also remember you telling me that that's probably why. But it could also be the fact that Vince McMahon is getting back at The Rock. Because there's also rumors of the fact
Yeah,
that The Rock has done other stuff for other promotions, but he won't. He apparently he was supposed to show up at that Survivor Series pay per view to hype up him and Roman or something like that.
actually, from what I've read, they never said he was going to be there.
Okay, and that's
The
that's
egg was just a fantasy.
and that's what I'm thinking too. That's what the egg is. The egg is a literal damn seed to where you were hopefully in Dallas at this Mania, where you're gonna get Roman versus Rock,
Yeah.
which is gonna be pretty interesting for Texas, man. Jeez.
Oh yeah.
And for 2 nights, man, I wish I could go. Hopefully, I could go,
I
but I doubt
know.
it. But yeah, fucking money, yeah. But we should have already had our tickets by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one also again was like we were saying with part that should have been brought up with Shotzi was Ember Moon, another wrestler that they again missed with. Uh, she should have been the wrestler to have beaten Asuka's undefeated record in NXT,
Mhm.
and that didn't happen. Obviously, Asuka what she do? Like she dropped the title, and Ember Moon ended up winning it,
Yeah.
and Ember was the next person in line to be the face for the women's in
And
the
her
NXT.
moon was great.
She
They
was
really
great.
dropped the
She had an
ball.
awesome character, and again, they dropped the ball with
I liked
her.
her tag team
I liked her.
with
I
the
liked her
Shotzi.
tag
That
team.
was
I
cool.
also, I also loved her move, which was the eclipse, which she did this
Yeah.
weird. She did this weird, spinning thing off the top rope and hit what almost hit like a Stone Cold Stunner
Yeah, I
type of
remember
thing.
that.
That was to me is crazy because you had
Yeah.
to execute that perfectly. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, another person that they just missed because I believe Shotzi and Ember again, with the women's tag team division that they have on the main rosters, Shotzi and Ember could have been a force to be reckoned with, and
Yeah.
could have been, like again WWE just messing up over here.
More like
This
Vince.
This one was just a waste of time, I believe, which is Eva Marie. How the hell? Why did the hell did you bring her back just to release her again? Like
Yeah.
no one even cared about her in the first place. I don't understand why you just brought her back just to do that stuff with Dewdrop or whatever the hell Piper Niven. That's what I know her as.
Yeah.
Come on.
Dude,
And
drop. Come on, what the?
yeah, here's another one that I felt like should have been something too. Mia Yim. Mia
Yeah,
Yim was another good one.
most definitely.
She was doing stuff with that what was that rebellion, or what was that group that they had that was on Raw that just invaded and they had all these masks on?
Yeah, a
Mustafa.
retribution or
There
something
you
like
go.
that.
Yeah, there you go. She was part of that. She would have been awesome. She would have been badass. She would have been badass on this women's division too. You know, I could have seen matches with her and Bianca Belair, and
Oh
she could have.
yeah.
Dude, Mia Yim versus like someone like Sasha Banks would have been money. I mean,
Mhm.
Ember Moon versus Sasha would have been money. Ember Moon versus Bailey, dude. Like, there's so much stuff they could have done.
Yeah.
It's like pisses me off, Al. Pisses me off. Here's another one. Harry Smith. Is that Davy Boy Smith?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So they just give him a little contract so he could do the whole Hall of Fame thing for his dad, used them up, threw him out like trash again.
I know, right?
I
He
mean,
should
dude,
just go. You know what?
that he should go to AEW.
Yeah.
He,
And I believe when they do that Owen Hart thing,
oh
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
he should be the first one to win it because he's actually related to Owen
And I was
Hart.
just gonna say, like, I know where you're going with this. Either that or put that on Brian Pillman Jr.
Either Brian Pillman Jr. or
Like I would
or
have,
David Smith.
or I would have Davey Smith debut. That'd be the surprise element itself, and
Yeah,
maybe it come down to Davey
yeah,
Smith
them
versus
two.
Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, that would
And
be the way to go.
either
Cause
one,
you got two
yeah.
part of the Heart Foundation from a MLW, and plus their dads were part of it.
Well,
The
and
Heart
well,
Foundation.
and with MOW, they were Heart
Yeah,
Foundation 2.0.
yeah, the Heart. Yeah,
Yeah. And Teddy Hart would have been badass too, but we know how all
yeah.
that went. He became, yeah, he just ended up becoming scum, from what I heard. He just went down a dark path, and man, that guy had so much talent too.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I agree. Harry Smith is so awesome. The last match I saw with him was against John Moxley, and it was like Bloodsport 6, I think was for Game Changer Wrestling. They had this pay per view called Bloodsport, which is literally almost like a Bloodsport style thing.
Yeah.
I kind of honestly think that's where they got the Raw Underground idea from, with
Yeah.
the no rings and all that stuff. So like,
Um,
so
I believe D.H. Smith. He should definitely carry the British Bulldog name.
I agree
Use
too.
it.
I agree too.
Use it in like AEW. You know what I mean? And actually, unlike it, unfortunately, his dad couldn't. I guess get the because the dad could have. He deserved the push. You know what I mean? His dad,
Oh
he was
yeah,
great,
yeah. Oh yeah,
great
definitely.
performer. He had an epic match with like Owen Hart Raw '97 for the
Yeah,
first ever European Championship, and that match is awesome.
yeah, man, definitely.
So they could definitely do something with the D.H. Smith, make him the British Bulldog, carry out that legacy, give him a big push, actually have him win the world title,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think
build him up.
if he was to come to AEW, there's also a fact. Like if he comes to AEW, you could also give uh Brian Pillman Jr. more of an attitude, and he turns heel, and
Yeah,
maybe he betrays the Varsity Blonde thing,
yeah,
and does the Heart Foundation 2.0, where now you're looking at like Big Davy Boy, British Bulldog Jr. there is gonna be like his bodyguard type of thing,
yeah. That would be
and they
awesome.
become a tag team, or they become a faction or something like that.
Kind of like the modern Brett and like Anvil, kind of.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. Yeah, there's so much. There's so many things you can do with stuff like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was one. Let's keep going down the list because there's so many.
Yeah.
So many as we're talking about it, and like you said, like we can, like us being big ass fans, we can go on and on with someone like Harry Smith because, he, like you said, he was
Oh
such a
yeah.
great wrestler,
Oh yeah.
and he still is. Like he still has a massive potential. So I can't. I could also see him going to New Japan and doing some stuff there too.
Oh yeah.
Because he's just that type of fighter. And British Bulldog's been over there too before
Mhm.
as well. So either or, I would love to. But yeah, more than likely for him to become a superstar, like the way we want him to be, I would say AEW for sure.
Yeah.
Here's the next one, which I thought was kind of crazy, but I guess you had, well, two of them who were part of the that Lucha House Party thing, and that was Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik.
Think I remember the Lucha House Party,
Yeah,
right?
the Lucha House Party. They were Lucha, and then
Yeah.
also Kalisto was also released, who
Yeah.
is also Samurai del Sol, and he debuted already in AEW. So maybe we can also see Lindsay and Grand Metalik over there too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would like to see them uh probably in MLW and Ring of Honor as well too, because
Yeah.
Ring of Honor's champion right now is a luchador, which is Bandito, and so it
Yeah.
would be cool to see more luchadors. I just love luchadors, man.
Oh
They're
yeah.
badass. The more luchadors, the better, and they're so rare too. So that's kind of cool when you see
Mhm.
someone in a mask like that. And I remember Lindsay and Grand Metalik being awesome. Grand Metalik, I think they were calling him the King of the Ropes because he would do all this crazy stuff, on the ropes and off the ropes and anything in between the ropes.
Yeah.
So he was doing all that. Going down the list, we have Jeet Rama. I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
So that is why you're released.
Yeah. That's why you. That is why
Yeah,
you released.
because we don't know who the hell you are. Another one is Katrina Cortez. Again,
I don't
really
know
don't
who
know.
that is.
Trey Baxter. Guess these are all developments.
Yeah.
Zeta Ramir. Jesse Kamea. I think Jesse.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Jessica?
She was on
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. She was on
She,
Let's
I think,
see.
she believe
The
I
Robert Stone brand.
yes, and I believe she's also married or to Isaiah.
Jaya. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she was also with that other girl, Alea, right?
Yeah. Alea.
Yeah, Alea. I think, and Alea is one of the most. I gotta say, Alea is one of the most underrated NXT performers I've ever seen because that she is like the Johnny Gargano of the women's division of NXT. Let's be real, because she has been there longer than any female wrestler I saw, and she never, yeah, got bumped up to the main roster like she was supposed to,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, I don't know, which is insane. I don't understand. But moving on, yeah, that she could have been something too, Jesse. I think,
Oh yeah.
especially if they would have brought Jesse and Alea as a tag team once again, could have built
Yeah.
the women's tag team division up with just girls like those, man. And I don't understand
Mhm.
when it's like written in stone, written right there.
Yeah.
Uh,
They never do anything.
we've already mentioned B Fab, which was part of Hit Row. Again,
Yeah.
she was pretty cool, but I didn't. She was all right for me. Another big one for me was Oni Lorkin. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, Oni Lorkin was brutal, man. He was doing some brutal stuff. This guy was old school, style brawler. I mean, this man, yeah, I don't understand it either. But I mean, I could see someone like that again going to someone like NJPW, MLW, Ring of
Yeah.
Honor, because he has the more brutal style. I think he would be great in strong style. Um, moving on, Frankie Monet, which was we knew as Taya Valkyrie, which was
Yeah.
John Morrison's wife in real life.
Yeah. She could have done some. They could have definitely done something
Man,
with her, but
she could have reigned supreme on the main roster herself.
oh yeah.
I mean, someone like her versus someone like Becky Lynch could have been money, just
Oh
like that.
yeah.
Just because of the fact that Frankie Monet as Taya Valkyrie was already a legend in AAA Mexico, man. Like she was already a big time star, before any of this stuff.
Yeah.
She really didn't she really didn't need uh WWE at all, but like it would have helped. And this whole Frankie Monet thing, I think it was different, so
Yeah.
again they messed up with her too.
Apparently, I
Uh,
heard it was because of the age or some shit like that.
that's what I was also hearing too. Going back to, like, if they were saying it was because of budget cuts, I also heard
Yeah,
rumors that it could be an age thing. Like, they don't want anyone over 30 or something like that. They want newer
yeah,
star. They want newer stars so they can secure the future. And I guess that's the whole idea of what NXT 2.0 is that they're
yeah,
bringing in a younger generation, which I don't really understand, because someone like I see like someone like Joe Gacy, who looks like he's about to be almost 30 or so. There's some
yeah.
wrestlers on there that look like they're a little bit above that, so I don't understand. Like,
Me
if
neither.
you can go, even if you're beyond 30 and you're a legend like that, like Sting, or like, somebody like Jericho, who can still
Yeah,
go. Who's to say? Who's to tell them to retire, or like, like, let them do their thing? I don't know.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess that, like you said, WWE wants to like try to secure the future. They always been trying to wipe it out and start clean type of
Mhm.
mentality, because they know, I guess they figure generations are gonna they're trying to bring in a newer generation to the WWE crowd, and so like someone like AEW obviously is fit for us, because
Yeah.
that's where, like, I remember one time them calling it like the WCW nursing home, which I don't think so, which is bull. Come on.
Yeah,
Um, so on this list for November 4th was also Scarlet, which we mentioned with
yeah,
Karrion Cross. I see Cross and Scarlet probably going back to Impact, or maybe
yeah,
doing something in AEW as well. Who knows?
yeah. That would
Um,
be cool.
but I see them more going back to Impact, because Impact does a lot of darker stuff. So I think they
Yeah,
can do a lot of darker stuff over there. But yeah, I can see that as well with the with with that. So now we're moving on to August 6th. Um, you know, August 6th, NXT underwent a massive facelift on August 6th, with 13 getting the axe. Most notably, Bronson Reed, who I just mentioned earlier, uh, who is now Jonah, who is now doing numerous of stuff, who is
New
now debuted.
Japan.
Not only that, but he also made an impact in Impact.
Yeah,
So he debuted in Impact just recently. He took out the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, who was the upcoming star for Impact, and just like that, a guy who they saw was money and who was the walking weapon, and I think he was undefeated or something like that. They're making him the guy basically, right?
yeah.
Bronson Reed just comes in there. Look at me, look at me. Come on, Rob. Come on, Rob. His name is not Bronson Reed anymore. Jonah
Jonah.
is here. That's what he likes to say. He said it in New Japan. He made it like you just said. I don't know if you watched the Battle in the Valley
Not
NJPW
yet.
yet, but as soon as you do, he made an impact there by attacking Juice. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a rivalry between Juice
Yeah.
Robinson and Jonah in NJPW, which I'm pretty
I
excited about.
I also know you showed me a footage of like Jeff Cobb and Jonah looking at each other. In my opinion, that would be a great match to see.
Well, and for the people that don't know what we're talking about with the Jeff Cobb and Jonah thing, is that you had already called it and already said it'd be awesome. Like, right when I told you Jonah debuted in New Japan, bro, and you were just like,
Yeah.
well, it'd be awesome if he goes up against someone like Jeff Cobb, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're showing you the picture that Jonah actually posted on his Instagram of him. Like, it said something like, "Make this a meme," or "This is a meme," because those Spider-Man pictures where they're
Yeah.
looking at each other. So they did one of each other, which I thought was phenomenal. So that begs the question:
Yeah,
Could
that'd be a great
could
one to see.
could we see a colossal? I get it, Bronson Reed colossal. Could
Yeah.
we see a colossal tag team with Jeff Cobb and Jonah, or are we going to see them face each other, which could happen down the line? Because right now Jeff Cobb is I think he's a heel right now in New Japan with Will Ospreay's new faction, Empire United.
Nice.
Uh, Also, a new member of Empire United is TJP, so they now have TJP up in the faction as well,
Nice.
which is pretty awesome. And maybe
Yeah.
someone like they're gonna go after someone like Jonah, like I said. And I can also see Jonah on
Yeah.
NJ. I can also see Jonah doing stuff on NJPW Strong as well.
Yeah.
He will be a perfect fit on that show.
Fuck yeah.
Um, and then like the stuff he's doing on Impact, man. Yeah, so he's already came out with a T-shirt that says Top Dog, and like I said, I think the idea of all these releases happening is not only, I think WWE played it smart. It's not budget cuts. I think they know they would lit a fire. They're trying to lit a fire under these wrestlers, and
Yeah,
here they are. They did. They are. They're
because you
doing that.
notice most of the ones they release are young, so maybe they're just trying to lit a fire up their ass, go prove them wrong, so they could hire
And
them back down the road, kind of like they did with Drew McIntyre.
yeah, and not only that, also the fact that like with Jonah, like he's already proving to be a big impact and a big force in wrestling. Same thing to what happened with who we knew as Zack Ryder in WWE, who is now Matt Cardona. He did wonders. Now he's doing wonders for that Game Changer Wrestling. Now people are starting to take notice of that because of the stuff he did
Yeah,
with the death matches and in with Nick Gage, and that's because on his podcast he said that he normally doesn't do death matches, or that's something he doesn't do, but it was just like it was just different.
yeah,
So going on with the August 6th, like we said, talking about Bronson Reed and Jonah. Another one I think who's making a force, like we said with someone like Matt Cardona, is Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is a founding member of the now disbanded Undisputed Era. Fish was a longtime partner of Kyle O'Reilly in the popular indie tag team, the Red Dragons, as well as respected veteran. So, what do you think, Al? We're seeing a bunch of stuff with Bobby Fish now. In
yeah,
speaking of the Undisputed
and
Era, they're kind of giving hints with that, and him doing little hitman stuff,
yeah,
or little hired gun stuff for Adam Cole
yeah,
in AEW. So I think that's pretty good. And not to mention, just off the bat, when Bobby Fish debuted, he was already in big matches.
yeah,
He was already doing big things right off the bat, right when they got there. That's what I like about AEW, and something I respect about something that NJPW does too is that they they go based on what you put in. You know what I mean? They like, for example, they already knew someone like Bobby Fish is a well-respected veteran, and this is way before WWE too, because he was already doing stuff with Ring of Honor. He was, and even before Ring of Honor, he was already known as the infamous Bobby Fish, right? Like, so he was already
yeah,
known. It's just that obviously WWE gave him more value, right?
yeah,
So, like, that's what I love about someone like AEW and NJPW is that they know the value of these wrestlers, and they just try to exploit that, and they already know what they have with those wrestlers, which I
yeah,
think is awesome.
most definitely.
What do you think with Bobby Fish?
He's good.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Yeah,
Which
MMA.
is when did he get released?
He got released August 6th along with Bronson Reed.
I'll get six, and then he showed up on like AEW a few weeks later, right?
Just about right. I don't even think so. Yeah, that's
Or a month later. Like,
just
what
about
happened
already.
to the
I don't.
90-day thing?
That's funny that you mentioned it. Unless it was one of those contract releases or an expiration or something like that.
Yeah,
Makes you wonder. Yeah, that's a good call because you were mentioning the same thing with Adam Cole, where it wasn't a release, it was more of a have to do with their contract
yeah,
being uh how'd you say, like a expiration of the contract or
yeah.
something like that.
Expired contract expired.
So they probably could have easily probably re-signed. It's just, they just chose not to. They just
Yeah,
chose to move forward, which was a good call on their part because like, again, look at what Fish is doing, and
yeah,
those type of wrestlers I can respect because they probably already foresaw like know them going to the main roster. They probably already know what we know, that Vince is just gonna screw them up,
yeah,
and yeah, let's not take that route and let's just end it here or something.
yeah,
So good call on them. Good call on them for doing that. Um, amongst, so I said 13 on August 6th, amongst Bronson Reed, who's Jonah, and Bobby Fish, who's still Bobby Fish. Amongst them, we had Mercedes Martinez, a veteran women's wrestler. She signed with WWE in 2020. She was also part of the Mae Young Classics. She was doing some stuff in NXT as well, and well, just recently, like you just said, I don't know if it was the 90. I don't know if the 90-day thing applied to her too because she recently just debuted in Impact as well. So
hmm,
she's now on Impact. So that's another one. That's interesting, like you
Yeah,
said. And she signed.
unless some contracts just don't have it because they don't feel
Well,
they're
I
gonna
mean,
be worth
or
it.
remember, and especially if they have, well, to be because she never got bumped up to the main roster, right?
Yeah,
And I don't
unless the 90-day thing doesn't
know.
apply to
Well,
NXT.
NXT has a 30-day thing.
Oh,
So NXT has 30 days and the main roster has 90 days. So that could also be why, because Bobby Fish was never on the main roster, so that's a 30.
yeah,
Bronson Reed, I don't think was ever on the main roster. That's another 30. And yeah, Mercedes Martinez here was another 30.
yeah.
So
All
it
right,
makes
that makes
sense.
sense.
And now we have another guy who I thought was going to be interesting. His name is Tyler Rust. He was a member of Roderick Strong's new faction called the Diamond Mind.
Yeah, he just
Uh,
debuted it too, right? And then
he, he had
like
this
a few weeks
JQ,
later,
and he
like
was
what
also,
the?
but he was also doing stuff in NJPW. I remember he was doing the Strong stuff over there. I
Yeah,
remember him seeing on. I remember seeing him once, I think, on AEW Dark, and then all of a sudden he got signed over here to NXT, and like you said, just like that, he was released. And I thought, man, well, come on, and he's young
yeah.
too. I believe he ended up going to Ring of Honor as Tyler
Uh,
Rust. He's in Ring of Honor now. But again, Ring of Honor had released everybody, so now we don't know
yeah.
what's going on there. So poor guy can't catch a break.
I
Because
know.
he's like, you know what? I should just stick to NJPW Strong. Should have just never left.
Yeah,
Should have just never left. Yeah. Then we got Leon Ruff, who I thought was funny. Remember they put the North American title on that guy, uh,
yeah,
which is a bold move for him. You're always going to remember that moment, and it's always
yeah,
about the moments in WWE, and I can respect that. Not only that, the guy can go. He could wrestle,
yeah.
but obviously the
He impressed me. At first, I was like, all right, a bit too soon. And then, I seen him actually
actually
do
wrestle, and he
some.
was doing
Yeah,
good.
I was like,
Yeah, he
yeah.
was
I was
really
like,
good.
oh, shit.
It's just that we obviously looking at it like this. He's a scrawny dude.
Yeah,
That's how we were looking at it as. But yeah,
yeah.
kudos to that. And who knows where Leon Ruff is gonna end up now, or if he's gonna end up even wrestling or
AEW,
not. All right, hey, we got Ende. Go,
strong.
hell, let's. He's gonna. I think he'll go to NWA Power.
There you go.
I don't know, honestly, because you got to remember NWA Power is is still around. They're doing stuff too. And
Yeah.
I could see someone like him doing some funny stuff, or he goes to Ring of Honor and does stuff like like that character Cheeseburger was doing. uh, the next I really don't know is Stefan Smith. But I don't know. Yeah, sorry,
I
people,
don't
if you
know.
if you know him, I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
Jake Atlas, I remember him. He was
Yeah.
in PCW. That's where I last saw him. If you, for any of you Rob is War subscribers out there, like to want to watch 24/7 wrestling, I suggest you get the Pluto TV app, and it has free stuff on there where you can watch 24/7 Impact Wrestling content and 24/7 Pro Wrestling content and 24/7 AAA content too.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that 24/7 Pro Wrestling uh channel, that's where I saw him. That's where I saw Jake Atlas on, and I saw his a
Yeah.
couple of matches he had on
Also, I remember him on NXT for a little bit too.
Yeah, just a little bit. He was doing pretty good. I thought he was gonna,
Yeah, he was.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Next up is Adi Adi Sterling.
I don't know who that is.
Again, don't know.
I don't
Desmond
remember.
Troy. Desmond Troy.
I don't
Don't
remember
really know.
either.
Zachariah Smith. Asher Hale and Giant Zangier.
Huh?
Yeah, it sounds like a was he like some kind of great Kali looking dude or something, or
Right?
Giant Zangier. I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, that's uh, who knows. Moving forward, Al, August 3rd, and just on August 3rd was the big one. Ric Flair.
I want to say he asked for his release.
You got that
He
right. The
quit.
GOAT, as it says, Flair requested his release and was granted it in early August. Fightful reported that Flair had serious issues with WWE's booking decisions, including his storyline with Lacey Evans earlier in the year. And I can't blame him because Lacey Evans ended up getting pregnant,
Yeah.
and so that didn't look good. And especially the stuff that was happening with the Dark Side of the Ring stuff,
Yeah.
that where they exploited the fact that he was yeah, wiggling his private
Yeah.
parts and stuff to a flight attendant, and so that could be one of the
Yeah.
some of the reasons. And I can agree with that too, where he
Yeah.
already knew like WWE, come on WWE, you're not doing good with your booking, and the whole Lacey
Yeah.
Evans things was kind of, it was kind of it was kind of smart at the
Retarded.
beginning of it, but yeah, it ended up becoming stupid, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, moving forward, July 31st, Bray Wyatt. Man, that was a big one
That
for me because
surprised me.
I was a huge fan of Bray Wyatt since the NXT
But
days, man.
embrace the fence. See, I did hear he was going. He had problems.
Yeah, um,
Losing his best friend and Brody Lee. That'll take a toll on someone
yeah. That's also
mentally and physically wise.
for some of the fans that are for some of the fans that are wondering why he possibly lost. His return match at last year's WrestleMania was, I think, was also because of that. What she said, that he wasn't in the right state of mind. I heard that he didn't even want to be there that day,
Yeah.
but he had to. So they basically did that where they could basically kill him off again, and well, he never really returned. He's still doing
Yeah.
subliminal messages on stuff, so it'll be interesting to see if he'll even come back to wrestling at all.
Yeah.
And maybe he will. Maybe he will do it in remembrance of Brody Lee, and if he does, I can see him doing some Dark Order stuff.
Yeah.
Or he comes back with his own cult following that he's calling the Wyndham cult, with maybe Rowan
And
and
his brother.
Strowman. I
Or
mean,
his brother.
and his brother, and they come back, and maybe they do stuff with Dark Order, or they, there's
Yeah.
something that happens there. So
Feud with the Dark Order.
feud with them, but nonetheless, I think that was very stupid because, I mean, Bray Wyatt, especially as the Fiend, was WWE's most was he was the one that was number one at merchandise sales and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And from what I know, is that as long as you're number one and doing phenomenal at merchandise sales, like how are they gonna cut you? Because they know
Yeah.
you're the guy. Like, but obviously merchandise sales number one right now is Roman Reigns.
I
Um,
feel he got cut because he we don't know what happened behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Maybe he wasn't ready to come back and just said to release me. I mean, we don't know.
yeah, you did. We never know the backstories. Well, when you hear rumors, when you hear people
Yeah.
always want to make this and this and that, they don't understand why wins happen or why losses happen, why things happen the way they do. And I know for one fact, like you said, the whole Brody Lee thing really did damage him. He just had
Hmm.
a newborn, I believe. So it might, maybe the industry itself takes a toll. I mean, Sasha Banks had
Yeah.
said the same thing where it was already getting to her, where she was grinding so hard 24/7 that she was already burnt out and just needed a break. And sometimes
Yeah.
that happens, and maybe WWE was just sour with that. Maybe they wanted to keep continuing to squeeze the hell out of what they could with the Fiend character, and maybe Bray was just like, no, man.
Yeah.
And not only that, with the creative freedom, here I go vouching again.
Yeah.
Did I just reverse the words right there? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that right there is what I like to call my inside term, a spoonerism. It's my own language. Uh, Creative freedom. I said creative freedom. It's one of it's one of my words in my spoonerism alphabets language. Anyways, that's something different. The creative freedom of Bray, I bet you that also played a factor. Maybe,
Yeah.
because I also know they released sketches of how he was saying he wanted to bring all those puppets that he had in the Firefly Funhouse, that
Yeah.
he wanted to bring them to life. So he wanted to wear, like, he was coming up with sketches and masks and stuff to bring them to life somehow.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have been epic. So yeah, that's just sad but
Yeah.
nonetheless, I still have my Fiend merchandise. I still represent Bray. Bray was, like I said, one of the brilliant minds And also, come on, the son of IRS.
Oh yeah.
Come on now, man. He's wrestling royalty, wrestling legacy too. So a generation of just wrestlers who, again, well, it won't be so hard for him to find something.
Nope.
I don't think. The next would be June 25th. Killian Dane, another guy I feel like probably could have been like if they had rebooted a Fiend, say they rebooted a Fiend Wyatt family, right? With there's the Fiend, I would see Killian
Yeah.
Dane as the new member. I
Yeah.
could, I could have seen because Killian Dane was doing some so badass as looking insane and as a lunatic as part of Sanity, which is
Yeah.
was another faction they just messed up with. I mean, like I said, Dane, who was a part of the NXT's popular Sanity stable alongside Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Nikki Cross. You know, yeah, like I don't know, man. And then he came back and did some stuff with Drake Maverick. You know, he returned to NXT as a single star, but I don't know. It eventually, yeah, gave way to his release.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. Another one was Kurt Stallion. I don't know if you know who that is. Says he made his debut in WWE 2020, wrestling as part of the company's cruiserweight division. I don't remember that in a way, but he was also released. Austin Gray was another that was released. Who is known as Anthony Green. I think I've seen that guy before. I don't remember what promotion, but I know he recently did. I believe last week I saw a match on AEW Elevation, or it was Dark, and Anthony Green came out and he actually won the match. So I think they're gonna give
Oh,
him. I think they're gonna give him a push or something. You're gonna see seeing more of that guy uh,
sweet.
come for NXT. But yeah, he was part of the company's releases for that month. He had also signed a contract in 2020 uh, and wrestled on 205 Live in also NXT for a little bit. So also on June 25th, we had Marina Shafar. For the ones who don't know who Marina Shafar was, she landed in NXT in 2018, famously part of the quartet featuring Ronda Rousey and Jessamine Duke and Shayna Baszler as former MMA fighters. They were basically going to come in as the four horsewomen of MMA. Um, and she's also married to Roderick Strong, so I think they messed up with her too. She could have been a
Yeah.
force to be reckoned with. Her and like Shayna could have been a force to be
Yeah.
reckoned with on the main roster, and could have been just those tough girls that could have done stuff with the younger generation. I feel. Say they messed up, but good news is that recently I saw a pay per view that Game Changer Wrestling did, and she made her debut there. So
Nice.
she's now on there, and she came out like fierce, man. She came out like all MMA style, and she was doing shoot wrestling, so it was great to see
Nice.
her back in that element. Also, again on June 25th, we had the Bollywood Boys. I think they were with Jinder for a while, which we knew as the Singh brothers. Uh, that's sad because I thought
Yeah.
they were pretty entertaining and different too. Um,
Yeah.
Rarely you get wrestlers from India such as like Jinder and the great Kali and stuff like that. But here was a team that was like I thought could have worked, especially as a tag team. Um, but yeah, they were basically Jinder Mahal's villainous lackeys. um, but according to a tweet that came out from the Bollywood Boys, they pretty much said they had torn ACLs and dislocated shoulders,
Ooh.
and like they just had a bunch of injuries they were dealing with. So that could be also one of the reasons why they got the
Yeah.
release. Because yeah, the next one for that month, man, this is pretty quite a lot for June 25th, man. Uh, Tyler Breeze, another one, King of Selfies. I
Yeah.
thought was going to be revolutionary for the main roster. They messed up with him. He was doing
Mhm.
great with Fandango as the fashion police, I believe. I mean, dude, Breeze was one of NXT's standout performers
Yeah.
when the brand was burgeoning in the early 2010s. He captured the NXT Tag Team Championships with Fandango once. He found a second win alongside Fandango, forming forming the popular and hilarious Brizongo tag team. I mean, they were doing a bunch of stuff, the detective stuff. I loved all that stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
How could I mean, that
Funny.
was entertaining as hell. Then they returned back in 2019 to NXT. Uh, Wrestled there for a little bit, but then obviously
Yeah.
ultimately got his release. So him and Fandango got released also on June 25th. So
Hey.
from what I know, Tyler Breeze is not doing anything right now. I think he's still doing a bunch of Twitch stuff with his gaming. Still doing things like that. But Fandango, I believe, is in Game Changer Wrestling as Dirty Dango or something like that. So we may be seeing him more. Another on June 25th is Arturo Ruas, which is he was doing the capoeira stuff. That's what I remember of him. He
Yeah.
first made his appearance in NXT in 2016, uh, after being signed in 2015, and he would occasionally make appearances on NXT. But he was
Yeah.
doing like this weird capoeira stuff, and this guy was legit MMA capoeira guy. So, uh, yeah, He is now on AEW. Uh, and they're using him. They're using him the way he should have been used. So, that's great. Keep going. June 25th, we got the premier athlete Tony Nese. Nese was a stalwart
Yeah.
of the WWE Cruiserweight division. Was released on June 25th as well, alongside a few others. He, what do you think with Tony Nese? I mean, this he was. I think he was part of. How do you say it? Like he was part of the original 205 Live guys.
Yeah. I remember him a little bit. Not a
He was doing the whole
whole
six
lot.
pack thing.
Yeah.
Him and like Drew Gulak.
I, re-
And
I, re- I remember a little bit of it, but not much.
you didn't really watch 205 Live as much.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you're always that. That is, see, Al. That is why you are the king of sloth style, because you are so backed up on so many wrestling programming that's out there. You don't even know anymore, Al.
Nope.
Damn it, Al. Yeah, damn it. But yeah, uh, good thing for Tony Nese, and that's June 25th. And now what are we like November?
Yeah.
So I guess it was a 30-day as well. I guess, but I thought he was also on the main. Well, he's doing 205 Live, but I guess not. I think he's still on doing stuff in the NXT world. So 30 days, and then obviously now he's on. He's being featured more now on AEW. So
Yeah.
as the premier athlete, which I thought was cool. So maybe he was able to keep all that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like maybe that was his name, and it was WWE's, I guess.
Yeah.
Another one that I was gonna say that was part of the whole 205 live thing was Arya Davari. He was another one that was part of. You remember Davari, his brother.
Yeah.
uh, Davari and who's that other guy? Muhammad Hassan. Remember them as being villainous characters talking about India and all that stuff. Arya Davari again was a badass wrestler. He also made his debut in AEW, so he's going to be doing things there too. So you should see more of him coming up. Another big one for me,
Mhm.
ending June 25th, because geez, there was a lot in that, was Everrise. I don't know if you remember them in NXT, Al, but
Yeah.
they are now just called obviously 2.0. Um,
In AEW.
in AEW, and obviously they've been doing big things. They've already been doing stuff with Moxley and Kingston. They've
Yeah.
already been interacting with Sting and Darby. They've already done
Yeah.
stuff with CM Punk. I mean, come on, you're already doing that stuff. If you're already doing stuff with big headlining guys like that already, I mean, you need to. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You need to do something. WWE. I mean, you need to rethink the situation or something. I guess. So yeah,
Mhm.
Um, this is a long list, though. I know. We get in there. We get in there.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman for June 2nd. Obviously, we knew him as the Monster of Man. I'm obviously wearing the
Yeah.
shirt right here for all the ones that are watching YouTube. Uh, I believed in that guy. They had something going on with him. He should have been. he should already been like at least 3 4 time WWE champion in my mind by now.
Yeah.
He should have won the championship against Brock Lesnar at least 2 to 3 times from there. He was doing a bunch of stuff right there with Brock. Should have done stuff with him. Should have done stuff with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then obviously, but I mean, ultimately he beat Goldberg, which was still good.
Yeah.
But still, I think
Yeah.
the only reason why he got to beat Goldberg is because he was only the guy they could call, because from what I heard is that Roman Reigns was having twins at the time and it was during the pandemic era, and
Yeah.
so Roman Reigns couldn't leave his house, and so they had to call Braun to step in. So it makes you wonder, like, if Braun would have ever even wanted, or it was gonna be Roman this whole time, but Roman said no and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So makes you wonder. Um, Another for June 2nd is a big one. Obviously, is Aleister Black. I mean, that guy. Geez, come on, man.
Great.
I mean,
Dropped the ball with him.
yeah, he was Tommy End. Um, yeah, and dude, he was gonna, to me, be another like Bray Wyatt in a way, like a dark entity that we needed.
Yeah.
And again, WWE, yeah, just um, dropped the ball on him. But good thing AEW picked it back up. And funny enough, is talking about the 30 days and the 90-day releases, is that he was on the main roster. And a lot of fans thought he was supposed to do the 90-day release, but what ended up happening is that WWE ended up messing up his contract, and they didn't
Yeah.
they didn't switch the 30-day to the 90-day, so he got away with it and ended up
Yeah.
30 days. So
Yeah.
he's the only guy that was on the main roster that was able to do the 30 days.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And obviously
Yeah.
it's swerved someone like me when I saw him debut on AEW, and I was just AEW, and I was just like, what the hell? So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool, and it's kind of cool that he's still continuing the whole thing about Black. So he's not Alistair, but he's still Malachi. So that's still cool,
Yeah.
which just means Dark Messenger, and it's still the same thing. So
Yeah.
so
It works.
all hell, the House of Black, Al. Um, June 2nd was another one, and I always teased you for this one because I thought he was your WWE cousin, and I'm talking about Buddy Murphy. Murphy started his WWE career in NXT, sub ran alongside Wesley Blake. I don't know if you remember that, and Alexa Bliss.
Mm.
Eventually spending time away before reemerging as the company's best kept secret on 205 Live. After his call up to the main roster, he lost his first name, as most do, obviously, going by just Murphy. And we only have one Murph, and that's you, Al. And
Hmm.
the
The
long
original Murph.
and acting alongside Seth Rollins as a villainous stable, which I thought was cool. I thought, come to think about it, I do remember his tag team with Wesley Blake, and obviously that's where we got the whole Bliss thing. If it wasn't for that tag team, I don't think we would ever got the stuff that Alexa Bliss is doing now.
Yeah.
And Buddy Murphy was just gonna be awesome as well. Another wrestler that they dropped the ball, and we're getting there. I know you're tired and you've had a long day. We're getting there. Like I said, these releases, they're long, man.
Yeah.
It- and like I said, over 70. That's a lot for 2021. I mean, just to have a full episode, and just based on that, it's insane. Like, there shouldn't be
Yeah.
a reason to release all these wrestlers, but like I said,
Exactly.
like we were talking about, I think they're doing it. I think it's not a budget cut. I think it's more than that. Let's
Yeah.
continue on so we can wrap this stuff up. Uh, June 2nd was another. Lana was one as well, which we know as the wife of AEW star
Yeah.
Miro.
Kind of saw it coming because Rusev, her husband, or
Yeah, and
Miro.
they always do that stuff. When your spouse leaves the company, you're gonna end up getting burned, and
Yeah.
that's what ended up happening with, I think, with probably Malachi as well, because he was dating what's her name, um, I forgot her name, but she ended up coming back and ended
Uh,
up becoming the first ever
Zelina Vega.
queen's uh, queen's crown, right, with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lana, I thought should have ended up. She should have ended up staying as the ravishing Russian. She should have stayed with
Yeah.
that gimmick. I felt.
I same.
Even if it wasn't with Rusev, she still stayed like that, because she would have been more fierce that way. I felt so,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. Another big one on June 2nd was Ruby Riot. Um, Ruby Riot originally. before the main roster. Geniuses decided to add a T to the Riot name for some reason. She was a big indie star as well. She was also one of the reasons why. She was also one of the reasons for Britt Baker. She kind of helped broke Britt Baker, who is the AEW Women's Champion, into the wrestling scene. So eventually, uh, we're now seeing her on AEW, and eventually, I know we're going to see Ruby Riott versus Britt Baker on a pay per view
Yeah.
down the line. Maybe a battle of the belts or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, they dropped the ball with her. She had a unique character, and but now again, AEW is gonna prove WWE wrong with all this. Another one is Santana Garrett. Garrett was a longtime indie wrestler too before ending up making her appearance for WWE as enhancement talent in 2013. She primarily just worked as an enhancement talent. And for those who don't know what enhancement is, it's just they basically make the other wrestler look good.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But she's now wrestling on AEW, so we'll see what's gonna happen there. Um, Moving on, we're getting close to the end of 2021 here. Well, actually, I started at the end and moving my way up to the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh, get what I'm saying? Huh? Jessamine Duke, May 19th. We already discussed her with obviously with Shafar. She's part of the four horsewomen of the MMA. Um, she made her last appearance on WWE TV on August 2020 on a Raw Underground segment. And again, if they would have utilized Shayna Baszler, Safar, and Jessamine Duke. Don't do it, Al. What are you doing, Al? Oh no,
It's
Al.
just a wine.
Do it, Al. He's gonna do it. Alcoholic Al is about to come out.
Not quite.
Dang it. Alcoholic. He's trying to. You're teasing the people, Al. To beer or not to beer? That is the question. But she was on a Raw Underground episode, and obviously she should. They could have done stuff with that Raw Underground stuff. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
made it another
definitely.
blood sport type of thing. But yeah, there you go. Um, and then on March 21st, we got Andrade, which we were talking about, I believe. Andrade Cien Almas. He reportedly requested his release, so
Yeah.
he requested it in March, and was granted it. The Luchador is a one-time NXT champion, and found little success on the main roster as a United States champion. But I mean, he was already known as La Sombra in NJPW and CMML before his NXT arrival, which I already knew that out. You didn't know that because Rob knows
Yeah.
all. Uh, um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
But
Okay.
and but Andrade ended up finding success anyways with AEW, and I hope he does a
Yeah.
lot of things. He's also is a former co-founder of the Dos Ingobernables de Japón, which is the LIJ, which is Naito is with, and Rush in Ring of Honor. So it makes me wonder if we could ever see Naito cross over the Forbidden Door and Rush and come in with Andrade, and they come in as Tranquilo as LIJ and
That
AEW.
would
That'd be epic because
yeah, that would be epic.
they're already teasing Okada, and they're already
Yeah.
teasing the Chaos faction. So, you know,
Looking
yeah,
forward to that.
yeah. So yeah, that so sorry. I think it's well, yeah. Uh, we have also in February, which was Lars Sullivan. Sullivan was being booked as a potential all-world heel before an injury sidelined him in 2019, and several controversies followed. Uh, Misogynistic and racist comments from Sullivan on an internet forum surfaced, as well as his appearance in an adult film years before his wrestling career got underway. So, yeah, this guy
Oh,
was he was already on the path of destruction, man.
yeah.
So I feel bad for him because he could have been a potential big monster too. Um, and then on February 4th, we got Steve Cutler, which was part of the with Jackson Riker with the Forgotten Sons. Um, they yeah, they a lot of stuff happened with the Forgotten Sons, and because of Jackson Riker, that whole thing happened. And yeah, I guess after that they didn't really have anything for him, but he ended up debuting in Impact Wrestling, so he's there as Stevens. It's not Cutler, but it's Stevens something. I remember that. So
Yeah,
and man, I guess I'm missing some others from the year because we also have from April 15th we had Samoa Joe, obviously, but they brought him back to NXT.
yeah,
We had Peyton Royce and Billy Kay also on April 15th, who were the Iconics, but are now the inspiration in Impact Wrestling. They
yeah,
could have been revolutionary. They could have been, the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships could have started with them,
yeah.
but they messed that up, obviously. Mickey James is another one, but she ended up going back to Impact as well and is, I think, believe the current Impact champion there.
I want to say she did some stuff with the NWA too.
Yeah, yeah. I think she still is too. I believe she's doing both. I believe. Then we had Chelsea Green, was another one, who was the hot mess in Impact Wrestling, and she's also the fiance of who we knew as Zack Ryder, who is now Matt Cardona. They could have done stuff with her, but
Hmm.
she's back in Impact as well and doing Ring of Honor stuff there too. Then we had Tucker Knight, which I thought was bad because we could have had a badass tag team with Heavy Machinery and him and Otis.
Yeah,
Um, then we've mentioned Kalisto. We mentioned Bo Dallas for April 15th, and then we got Wesley Blake, who was also part of the Forgotten Sons.
yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much the whole list there, Al.
Dang. The
Yeah,
Dan O'Brien's not on there.
uh, not on this list, no, surprisingly, but I would think you did. He was released too, right during on this year.
I want to say his contract was up, and he
His
just basically sat around until all out.
because obviously we had him, and then obviously we had Adam
Because
Cole.
he was at WrestleMania,
Because we had him and
so
we had
that's a
yeah, like I said, we had him and
yeah,
we had Adam Cole, but I don't think, like you said, I don't. They weren't really releases. They were more like
yeah,
they asked for it more, I
yeah. Or
guess,
the contracts were up,
or the yeah
expired.
expiration contract expirations. So that happened. Um, yeah, I mean, man, that's a lot of releases, and I hope, like I
Yeah.
said, in conclusion, now, I mean, I hope majority of these wrestlers are going to find good homes in these
Oh
different
yeah.
promotions, and they already are.
They're
And
gonna
so
get better jobs, not ex WWE. They're just gonna get better jobs.
because of the fact that
They
they're
got fired and lost their job, so they're getting another job.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And people don't understand that they're just going to be. But I guess it's also a good thing if you're known as an ex WWE wrestler because obviously WWE is big, so you're gonna go see them because they were ex WWE anyway. So
Yeah.
people shouldn't be complaining at all. I think we should just enjoy all this wrestling that is happening. I think all these releases are a good thing because now you got someone like these promotions like MLW, Ring of Honor, New Japan doing strong, and uh, MLW, like with all these promotions out there, yes, man, release more so we can see so we can see the real wrestlers that they're supposed to be and not these watered down
Yeah.
Vince McMahon like characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything else that you want to leave with us, Al?
I'm good.
Damn it, Al, you're always good, and I knew you were good because you were about to open that fridge, you were about to pop that top, and sip that red wine like alcoholic Al does. The only thing is that alcoholic Al is alcoholic Al a beer person or he's just anything alcohol for
He's
all the
everything. Wine
for
right here. This is actually some homemade wine
for
by 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 buddy Jacob Franks,
for
a
all
buddy
your
of mine.
alcoholic
Made this.
fans out there. You just as long as it's alcohol, it's good.
Yes.
well, well, it was good talking to you, and like I said,
Good
this
talking to
obviously
you.
this episode has been long time coming, and
Yeah. Just
And
been busy. Thanksgiving.
yeah,
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, you've just been busy, but it's okay. We're going to be on top of it. You never know when we're going to put out episodes. Just know that we're going to
exactly,
continue to keep putting out the episodes because we like to live our lives raw and you never know what's going to happen at the end of the day.
exactly.
So, with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and repeat. I said like,
Like,
subscribe,
subscribe, comment,
comment,
and
and
repeat.
repeat. And yeah, do us a favor and go search Rob is War on YouTube. You can search it on the iTunes, and you can also search it on Spotify. Just check for just search Rob is War or search for emo emo wosa. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Productions. I'll be there. But yeah, just if it's hard for you to say, just search for Rob is War. We are there again. Just like, subscribe,
And
comment, and
repeat.
repeat. And yeah, Rob out.
Peace. Murph out.